The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our webinar today. We're going to be hearing from RMM Solutions, a partner we work with here at Innovia. Just a quick reminder that we do record this and all of our webinars. So if you want to watch it again, or if you want to share it with someone in your organization, just go to our website, innovia.com. It'll be there by this afternoon. And of course, if you have any questions, type them into that question box. We'll get them called out and answered for you. And without any further ado, Ben, I will hand it right over to you. Ben, I'm not sure if you're able to hear me. Are you ready to get started?
I can hear you now.
There we go. Now we can hear you.
Sorry about that. I think we were having a little bit of feedback on our end, some choppiness on the line. So, able to hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, perfect. I'll get started. So, good morning, everybody. My name is Ben Bowman. I am with RMM Solutions. My official title is Lead NOC Engineer, and I manage and supervise our Network Operations Center, which is responsible for a day-to-day basis without having to have the extra expertise on staff to be able to configure those tools, install them, and be able to manage them in-house. So we're looking to solve a couple of common problems with that. Your in-house IT is very good at their own people, knowing their own environments, understanding their line of business applications, and the nuances of them. Whereas, the consulting firm is really good at the specifics with the hardware, the infrastructure, your Windows operating systems, and they have the tools and they use them day in and day out to manage environments. So it's really geared around a happy medium where we allow the customer, or the customer just basically supports their environment. They get all the tickets, they receive the phone calls from their end users, and they support their customer base in-house. And then on the back end, we have a team that supports the customer by providing the tools and streamlining them and setting them up so that they can be more effective. So what we're going to show today is just briefly what types of tools we provide as part of that solution to the customer. There's a lot of different options that come with this. We have tools that specifically for service ticketing. We also have a remote screen share that we recently released to our customers so that you have the ability to actually screen or set up a remote screen sharing session with somebody and actually manage their computer remotely. And then we also have a network monitoring dashboard, which we recently released. So we've been very busy over here. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right into some of our software here and give a brief tour of what it is and what it can do. So in front of us here, we have what we call, it's ConnectWise. It's a service ticketing and IT service management platform. Everyone's heard the buzzword or the acronym of ITIL. It's kind of built on ITIL standards and methodologies, but it's open to interpretation for the customer, and we have some ability to edit it to fit your needs. So on the main screen here, it's just basically just the dashboard, the first screen you see when you log into the application. It gives you a little bit of information about your open service tickets you may have, if they're past due, if they're scheduled for this week, or all of them that are open. On the top here, you also see a ConnectWise Today dashboard. This is not launched yet, but soon we'll be launching a dashboard where you actually can see some statistics on how many tickets you have out there, how old they are, and some topical information like that on this screen here. So that is coming. There's also ConnectWise Central. So for those of you that want to learn more about the software and actually get into the nuts and bolts, that's available to you. There's several helpful links out here as far as what's on the roadmap, and other things such as what are the features that are in there, or even some trainings through their video library and things like that. The great thing about this is, we manage all of it, and we're able to configure the system to fit your needs and work with you to fit your processes in your environment. And then next is my calendar. And this is just a quick calendar view of the tickets that are assigned to any engineer for the day. In this case, it would be the tickets that are assigned to this demo user that I'm logged in as. So we'll get more into that in a little bit, but there's the ability to favorite any icon and put it into this section. So first of all, I'm going to open up our test company here and give you a little bit of a brief overview of what it can do. Here I've set up LineTex International. This is just a test company. On the screen here you can see this is actually completely customizable. We can drag things around and actually make it fit your needs. You can have different topics on the screen so that you get a brief snapshot of what's going on in your organization, such as who is your primary contact is, the list of contacts that are out there, and then service tickets that are open on your board. And then you have the ability to sort through them through the various options here. We'll get more into those sorting options here in a bit. Next is your contacts. So here is it's considered like a complete address book. You can track your users, their names, their phone numbers, their email addresses, and some basic information about about the users in your company. The great thing is we can update this automatically through our system. We have a couple of features that allow us to actually input your new users automatically into here so that we have the most recent information. Why that's helpful is that if you've worked with any service ticketing platform in the past, you know that you can assign a contact to a ticket. And that's vital for being able to know who you're supporting, knowing who you have to call, the number you have to call to reach that end user, and things like that. So through a couple of different tools, we're actually able to automatically input these users for you. I'll just open one up here, take a look at it. And there's some basic things here that you can take a look at as far as their title, the company, etc. But there's other things you can track in here as well. If you wanted to attach documents to that specific contact, you could. If there's anything that you want to associate with that user, maybe their specific workstation, things like that. There's also this service tab right next to it where any tickets that are submitted by that contact will be listed here. So you can look at their service history and see if, it seems we've reset this user's password a lot in the last 2 weeks. You can take a look and find all those tickets that user submitted and then see if there's a trend and look through the various incidents that are out there for that specific person. Then there's the configurations tab. So configurations are basically anything in your environment that you want to track and manage. The high-level term is called asset management. So If you have a server, that's a configuration. If you have a domain name that you have that's you know, testcompany.com or something like that, you can track that as a configuration item. And you can track things like your serial numbers, your documentation, who is assigned to that particular configuration, things like that. So if you've actually had a workstation that we put into the environment, and this one doesn't show it very well, it doesn't have one attached, but I can show you how to attach one in a second, is if you have a configuration attached to that user, then you can track, you know, all right, who's got what, who has what in our environments, and how long have they had it? You know, is this device 5 years old? Is it 2 years old? And you can track some of that information so you can plan for technology replacements in-house. So now I'll step back to contacts here. There's going to be a list of contacts that show up on your screen. You can actually manage them through there. It's the same thing as if you were to go under your company record. And then there's also configurations. So here's a configuration list. We actually have one out here that I created, just called LT Test Config. If I open that up, you can see it's listed as a managed network computer. It's active. You know, you can track what status it's in, if it's in storage, if it's on loan. We have some statuses out here for you to actually choose from, so you can track where they are. Manufacturer, model, serial number, asset tag number if we put one in there. The great thing is with workstations and servers, we have a service on our back end that actually can look up your purchase and expiration date based on the serial number and automatically put it in here so you know how old the machine is. We don't have that for our network devices yet, such as our switches, firewalls, routers. That's coming, but that's not a feature yet. It's just for workstations and servers. The great thing is, too, we have an agent that we actually deploy to those systems that you want to manage and monitor, and it takes the details of that workstation, server, switch, what have you, and actually plugs it in and creates a configuration for you automatically. So that's the even bigger benefit to the system. And then it can take the serial number and actually automatically plug it in here for you. And then it takes that serial number, and then we can actually put in the expiration date automatically. So there's a lot of automation in the back end that we can do to really speed things up and make things easier for you. You can also see the contact is listed here. We can assign a contact to that item. So if I wanted to step back, actually, I'm going to open up that contact record for John Smith in this case. And then I configurations tab, and you can see this is a configuration or a device that's assigned to him. So you can see how we can, you know, establish a relationship between different items within the system. I'm going to step down a couple of sections here. Sales, there's nothing really that's out there for you right now. It's something that I just can't hide. So really the bulk of the tool is under this service desk section here. I'll start by just clicking on the service board. So every GreenLight customer gets a board that their tickets flow into. And this is where you can view the different tickets that are out there for different issues. They could be automatically generated alerts that you need to look into, or it could be end user submitted tickets. There's a few different avenues on how they can be created. First of all is something we refer to as an email connector. And what we can do is we can actually white label this solution so that your end users send an email to an email address that you own. So if this is linetext.com, as an example for the company, they could send it to support@linetext.com. That email is then forwarded to an address or inbox on our end, and then that ticket or that email is automatically entered in as a ticket under your company and shows up on your board. So we can white label it so that your end users don't even know we're there. Then there's the next option, which is the RMM Hub that we have labeled it. That is also white labeled, customizable. It's a customer service portal where they can go out and submit their tickets and track them as an end user. once again, this is the technician view, not the end user view. And we'll get into that end user view in a little bit so I can show you what that looks like. Then also, there is the ability to call in and have the person that's on staff, that IT person, actually create that ticket for them. So 3 real options there. And then there's the 4th that's automated. There's automatically generated tickets that can be created from any number of our systems for events that happen in your network that need to be addressed. So on the screen here, you can see a couple of test tickets that we have created. We also have a note about a new user. In this case, here's a couple of examples of some automatically generated tickets you may receive. In this case, the service is not running on this particular server. It's tried to restart it automatically and it can't. Might be something we want to look into. So I'm actually going to go through here and just say, I'll create a new ticket. We can put in this test company name, automatically fills in these contact information. You can change that contact to who you need it to be. You can establish a priority. You can set the status. And these statuses are completely customizable, along with these types, subtypes, and items if you wanted to classify them and report on them later. I'll give it a title, and I'll click Save. Then per ticket, you have the options to do a whole lot of automation around your services that you provide. So in this is an example, our RMM Hub customer portal, which once again we can white label fit your company. If a user submits a specific form through that portal, we can work with you to set it up so it automates some things on the back end. It automatically recognizes that it's a printer issue to this type, and it can say, all right, it's a failure, can't print. Based on that, we can actually have some tasks automatically assigned to that ticket. So a common use case is new user setups. Every company has a standard user setup procedure, or they are working on one, right? We can put in tasks on that ticket automatically so that you can track it, check them off every time through this screen here, and just be able to make sure that your users are set up in standard fashion. Reduced chance of missing something on the user setup end, right? So you can also track which items or which workstations are affected. So on this ticket, I can actually attach that workstation, that configuration item we were working with before, and then I know right away this ticket is related to that workstation. So if I have to drop this ticket for any reason and come back to it later, I have all the documentation I need right there. For those tickets that are automatically generated, a lot of times the workstation for the end user or the server that our automated system is picking up will actually attach that for you automatically so that you know right away which machine you have to troubleshoot or work with. And then there's some common things up at the top of the screen here, such as your time. You can actually track your time on this if you wanted to for your organization. Many small companies don't want to actually track time on tickets, but that option's there. So, let's give you a good example of a use case for that. The CEO wants you to justify why to hire a second IT person or an IT staff member. Tracking your time on these tickets, and then at the end of the day providing a report to that CEO saying, all right, this is what I do on a day-to-day basis, and I'm still not getting all my tasks done. This is why. Then you can provide that to him. So just one example of why time management in this application is a benefit to you. Down here in the notes section, there's a discussion section. This is actually something that your end user can see. And then there's an internal note section, which is only the things that IT staff can see. So you actually can control what types of notes are actually visible to the customer or to the end user. Next, I can select open tickets. So for those of you familiar with ITIL, there's another concept called problem management. basically a large-scale issue that affects multiple people, and you may have several tickets created for the same issue. If you were to come out here to this open ticket screen and hit search, you can actually check off a couple of these tickets, go to the actions menu and say child ticket. If I click OK, it actually creates those tickets, or it actually takes those tickets and puts them under that parent ticket. There's a parent-child relationship we refer to. Give this a minute to save here. Now if I go back to that main ticket screen, I'll be able to see bundled tickets right here, and I can see which tickets have been submitted by which users, and I can see a running list and track all those in a single location. So just some neat things around how you create tickets and manage them. Some of these fields are completely customizable, such as the type, subtype item, if you wanted to get granular with it, with how you report on those tickets. So just some things to be aware of there. Now, next is this dispatch portal. This is for those companies that do have multiple IT staff. They can actually view their technicians here on the screen, side by side in calendar format, and we can basically do a drag and drop and say, I want to assign this to so-and-so for 9 to 10 a.m., and then click create. And then it's on their calendar for the day as far as what types of tickets they're working. Next is my calendar. Once again, because I assigned it to that user, we should see under the service section here that ticket on my calendar. So if this was the user logged in, they'd see that. And then service ticket search. This allows you to search all service tickets, whether they're opened or closed or however long ago they were created. You'll be able to use this screen to search for any requests that may have been submitted. And then search maybe, how many priority 1 tickets have we had over the course of the last 6 months. You could do that through this screen. Just one moment as it loads here. It's taking just a minute here. I'm actually going to keep moving forward so we don't wait. Next, there is this knowledge base section. This is here. It's not really robust. There isn't a ton of information in there right now. You definitely can use it. The application vendor is actually revamping this entire solution, so you might see more things being done with it in the future. But you do have the ability on each of your service tickets to create a knowledge base article from that ticket. So keep that in mind. If you wanted to, you could create your own running list of common issues and put those into here. We don't have anything populated on our end, but it's something that is available to our customers. And then, of course, we have service reports. And you can run some reports on your environment. It's basically built with an SSRS background. And you can run reports such as, what tickets have we had over the last month, how much time we're put into them, who is working on them, who is the contact, things like that will be listed on this screen. I apologize, it seems like it's running a little slow today, so. And we will keep moving forward. The next item I wanted to show that I alluded to a little bit earlier is this RMM Hub, which is basically our customer service platform or a customer support portal for your end users, where they can submit, create tickets, and review them and see what's going on. What status is it in? What's the latest note? What's the latest update? Things like that. Those are the questions we look to answer with this platform. As you can see here, it's got our logo on it right now, but it is customizable so that we can add your logo onto it and have this show up differently. On the main screen here, users can see their contact information. They can even update it. which automatically updates ConnectWise so that it has the latest information. It also will have their default contact preferences if they set them in this section. It also does single sign-on. So if you have an Active Directory environment and we plug this into your workstations, it should be able to pick up their email address, reference Active Directory, and then see, oh, yep, this is an authentic user, this is a user that's out there, and then automatically logs them in under that email account. If we don't have a user under that email address in ConnectWise, it recognizes that and puts that email address and that contact into ConnectWise for you, so you don't have to do it yourself. Also lists the user's machine name and then this little icon up here, which is nice. It tells you, the end user whether or not they're connected to the internet. So, they can all, if you have that question for your end user, you can ask that and see if they're connected. Next is your notifications. This shows any notifications that may have been sent to you for tickets that are submitted. The end users will see a lot less than 249 notifications. I submit a lot of tickets, so I see a lot of them. But they will get these out here and they'll have the chance to review them, see what the status update was, see if there was any notes. In this case, you can see there was a note added here for a ticket and put in here, and they can actually read what the latest update is. Another cool feature of this is there's actually real-time updates, which I won't be able to demo for you right now, but there's a flyout that appears in the upper right-hand side of the screen, kind of like an Outlook email notification. So if they have one ticket they submitted, that's it, and it gets flipped to a different status by your staff, the notification will appear on the screen so that they get that update in real time. And then they can click it and actually view the ticket. So same concept here. If I click on this note down here, it will take me right to that ticket so that I can view it, see the priority, the number, the latest notes, when they were put in, the status of that ticket, etc. Now I'll go to request support here. Very simple way of submitting a request is right here. Just list them right on the screen and they click it. In this case here, I have an example of a employee termination form. We can customize this to fit the customer's needs, or they can actually create them themselves if they want to through ConnectWise. That's something that's a little more in depth, and we would definitely have a training on how to do that if you're to become a customer for GreenLight IT. But they submit the form, fill in the fields, attach a file, take a screenshot, click submit, and then their request will be sent in and they'll get a notification stating it was received. The Learning Center is something that's visible on my screen. It's not quite ready yet, but we're looking at doing some videos and things like that for end users to have access to in the future. And then there's invoices as well that's listed here, which is something that your administrators can view through this portal as well. I'll go ahead and close that. I'm going to move on to the next tool here. So, recently released a network monitoring dashboard, which is named AUVIC. And basically what it does is it fills a gap that isn't filled by just having ConnectWise. And it's just, you don't get all the visibility into your network by having just a ticketing board with all the alerts coming in. You want to be able to see, touch, and manage your devices. And that's what this is looking to fill. Right away when you log into your environment, and this is a demo environment we've set up just for for showing our customers, as you'll see on the top side of the screen here is the devices that are in that demo environment. This could be any customer's environment, and takes services such as SNMP, CDP, LLDP, those neighbor discovery protocols and the network management protocols, reaches out to those devices and figures out how everything's connected. And it puts it on the screen for you. It's all automated, and it does it fairly quickly, and does it through those management protocols I talked about. Right here you can see this is just an internet icon showing that we have our internet connection up here. Here's the firewall in that demo environment. If I click on any one of these icons, it'll give you more information about that specific device. So in this case, we have a WatchGuard firewall here. We can see the IP addresses assigned to it, the networks it is a part of. You can see the make and model. Typically, the serial number will show up. Right here it says unknown, but it does fill in that field for you. Firmware version, things like that. Some things are missing here, but typically, all this information is filled out for you. Also, your online status, your current uptime, the number of online interfaces. In this case, this is an older firewall that's been retired, so it has a lot of interfaces on it. And any open alerts. So if there was an open alert, you could click this icon and go and view it. You're also able to see the top interfaces by utilization and see how much they're transmitting. In this case, it's a demo environment, we don't see too much traffic. And you can see the device bandwidth over time. We want to see what's going on. Maybe there is a network issue occurring. It's happening intermittently, but we can't pick it down as to when or why it's occurring. In this case, we could come out here on this device bandwidth screen, and I could say I want to see it between 1026 and 1030. Maybe this is a couple-hour window, but we can see when those spikes occur. Maybe it occurs at a regular pattern. Maybe the network gets slow every 2 hours on the hour every day. What happens every 2 hours? You could look into your backups. Maybe they run incremental backups during that period. Maybe we have to throttle back our backup solution so that it doesn't use as much bandwidth during that time. And then as you select that window as well, it will show you any of the alerts that have been created during that window. Same thing with device utilization here. You could look at the trends over time. In this case, it's not using a whole lot of resources right now, but if this was a storage device, like, we see average storage listed here, we could see maybe over the course of a month that our SAN is growing at a pace of 5% or something like that. Any open alerts, etc. And then at the top of the screen here, right now it's set to 10 minutes, but you can select any custom date range. Now, it actually will show you an inventory as well. It'll show you the networks that are connected. And then I can view each of these networks. So if I want to view the 1001 network here, I can click on that and see some information about that network. The top interfaces in that network, top device usage. And then I can actually go and see, all right, I have 6 devices on that network. And I can keep drilling further down in the network very quickly with this dashboard. And you can see these are the 6 devices we have listed under there. Now I want to go back to that firewall here. Under documentation and configurations, this is another great feature. If we're able to connect to the device through SSH or Telnet or whatever protocol you have open, we actually can automatically back up the configuration of that device. It will check on a regular basis to see if the configuration's changed, and if the timestamp on that config has changed, it will back it up automatically for you. There's also a Manage Configuration button right here where you can restore that config. You can compare it, so we could actually select multiple configurations here and compare them side by side to see how they've changed. Or we could even export it to a file, a notepad document for editing. Now I'm going to navigate away from this screen. Next, we have an alert screen here that I clicked over on the left-hand side. This actually will show you alerts over the course of a period of time. Once again, we can adjust that threshold, and it will actually show you a list of alerts here. Documentation, there's actually a section just for that, your notes. You can see the notes on specific devices listed here. If we had added any, you can add one as well for your documentation purposes, your configurations, and then there's some reporting that's available as well in this section. So you can actually export, your server utilization if you wanted to see it, your UPS utilization, things of that nature. This is also a completely interactive map. We have been clicking around on it. If you have a very large environment, it will group devices and actually consolidate them. So if you have, on the extreme side, you have 10 SAMs or something like that. We'll actually group those devices and you'll be able to collapse it and edit this so that it actually fits the screen a little bit better for you. There's also several filters we can apply. Here I'll just apply a quick filter, and you can see it's reduced it down to the firewall, the switch, etc., and it reduces down to what you want to see. And then there's also the ability to export it to a PDF or a scalable vector diagram, as you can see here. Now, there was one other thing I wanted to show, and I hope I have access to it right now. That is Screenconnect. And what that is a remote screen sharing platform that we can use to actually connect to a device very quickly. And it actually is limited down to just the scope of the devices that are on your network, and you'll be able to just click a button and quickly be able to access that end user's machine. So I'm going to actually try and find my laptop here. Here's my laptop. You can see the screen. This is the latest update, so apparently the screen capture updated while I was showing you the RMM Hub. You can see who's logged in, the idle time of that user, operating system, things like that, some basic statistics about the device. But more importantly, we can actually go ahead and click Join here. It'll ask you to download an app once. We'll run it, quick install it. And once that's finished, it will actually just pop up and show the user screen. Screenconnect's a great option for us because it offers a lot of different tools that we don't normally have in your typical screen sharing platform. It does offer the standard stuff like your file transfer capability and things like that. Ability to view the other screen and control the input on the other end. But it also adds in the feature called the toolbox, and I'll show you that here in a second. You're going to see it zoom out here. But up at the top of the screen, we have the ability to change our view preferences. Actually, right here. You can change between low, medium, high on the quality. You can select monitors. So if the end user had 3 monitors, you could do that right here. There's also some miscellaneous tools. You can click Control-Alt-Delete right from a button. You can reboot it into normal or safe mode. This is one of my personal favorites. You can manage credentials, which basically means that you can prompt the end user for storage. And that end user could type in their credentials and then click OK, or they could even test it to make sure they entered it correctly. At that point, it's kind of saved to the clipboard. You can then send it to the screen, and that user has never given you their credentials. You've never seen them. You could reboot the PC. They could be completely away from their desk, and then you could log back in without having to ask them for their credentials. You could also do a role reversal and share your own desktop if you wanted to demonstrate something. Your standard file transfer features. Also the ability to capture the screen. You could take a video, take a screenshot. You could record sound, view the participants. I can even annotate on the user screen. So here, you can see that on that Screenconnect session, I've drawn around something, and that user will see it too. And then I can even just click clear here to remove that from the screen. And then, of course, there's chat as well. And you can chat with that end user. Close that. All right. Now, those are the high-level tools that we provide. There's also a lot more to it in the back end. We have a complete network operations center that does a lot of things for those customers. We manage your patching, we manage your automation, we look for trends and issues in the environment, and we try to create some scripts and automation to actually resolve those issues without your intervention, things like that. We have engineers in-house who know PowerShell, who know SQL scripting, and they're able to pull that information out and manipulate it and create solutions that actually take care of those issues proactively. The types of alerts that you would see from those systems are those that we have already done all of our due diligence. You know, the script is kicked off, tried to clean up drive space on a PC, etc., and it's no longer able to do anything, and those are the events that you would be seeing, those events that now require human interaction. So before you even get the ticket saying, hey, the C drive on this server is approaching full, we've got a script in the background that's run that's tried to clear up as much free space as possible. You know, look for your Windows Updates folder and clear that out. Look for your temp files, clear that out. Now it requires user or interaction by someone on site. So we've shown you a lot of different tools today, a lot of different options for managing your environment. With that, I'll kind of leave it open to questions.
Thanks, Ben. We do have a couple of questions that have come in. The first one here, we use VNC to remote access screens. What are the benefits of GreenLight IT's Screenconnect solution?
Sure. I think one of the biggest things is a difference between VNC and Screenconnect is in many cases VNC is a free application. It's freeware, free to download. Yes, that means it's cheaper. It's more cost effective for the customer's environments, but that comes with caveats, right? Screenconnect is a paid service. It's included with our per agent pricing, but because of the fact that it is paid for, it means that they have a full development team in the back end. They're constantly looking for improvements to the application and new tools that they can put in to advance that application further. I think one of the key things that I see in here that is not actually part of VNC, which actually I did not show on the screen here, is the toolbox. We have a toolbox that we can actually have a list of applications that you use to commonly work on your network, such as PuTTY. If you need to remote into your switches or routers, we can actually have under the drop-down a listing for PuTTY. And you push PuTTY and you automatically have that application launch on the screen. Another enhancement that's come into Screenconnect is the ability to actually highlight an error and then have Screenconnect Google it for you, believe it or not. That's actually coming, and these are some features that aren't as readily available in a open source and free platforms such as VNC.
Great. We do have another question here, Ben. What is the difference between GreenLight IT and Spiceworks?
Sure. So we covered ConnectWise, which is another ITSM or ITIL-based tool for your service ticketing. It's a service ticketing platform. Spiceworks is great, once again, for pretty much the same reason. It's a free download, free to install. They do have paid versions of their software, but Spiceworks as this basic version that people know it is free to download. And you know, it doesn't have a ton of the automation built in as a default. But then with Spiceworks, there's tons of ads that pop up. They're all over the place, and they have to be able to pay for that software somehow. They do it through ad revenue, and it can be very intrusive, be hard to work with, and things like that. There's also the benefit of when you go with ConnectWise, you have that full staff that is on the back end that are able to actually work with you to configure the solution. You have a team of experts that can help you configure it to fit your needs, can fit best practices, and also to make sure it's up and running for you. So.
Well, great, Ben. That looks like the end of our questions here. If anybody has any further questions, type them into that question box, and I'll just remind you that we did record this webinar, so you can view it later this afternoon on our website, enovia.com. And that looks like it on the question front.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for your presentation, Ben. Thank you to our attendees, and we hope to see everybody at our next webinar.
Thank you.